All right, what's up, guys? I'm on time this week. Um, Patience is a virtue, guys, so don't bitch too much about last week. This is our Tennessee Hate Week edition. I have officially given up Jack Daniels, even, so I'm super taking this seriously. It looks like it might actually be, there's at least a question. I mean, obviously we're going to win, but, you know, there's a little more belief there on the Tennessee side, and it might make it just a little bit sweeter this year than it has the past eight. So, without further ado, let's get into the matchups. I was kind of hoping Big Ben would get back this week, so my team name would make more sense, but I still like it. Been there, raped that myself versus Taylor Watson, turmoil in your twat. Um, I had to make another roster move on my QB, and I think hopefully this will be a good one. Um, Blake Bortles is actually the fifth or sixth ranked quarterback in fantasy so far this year. Um, so I picked him up going against Buffalo in London at 8:30. So looks like I have to wake up super early on Sunday morning. Um, Taylor's got Eli Manning, who looked incredible 2 weeks ago, throwing for 441 and three, and terrible last week, going for 189, one and two interceptions for 7.8 points. So kind of a toss up, but I like Bortles. I'm finally sold on his consistency. He's got some deep threats. Got Julius Thomas back. So and Buffalo's kind of reeling right now, and they weren't that good against the pass anyway. So I'll pick Bortles in this matchup. Um, Second, we've got running backs. I've got Frank Gore, Dion Lewis, who's questionable. Taylor's got DeMarco Murray and Lamar Miller. I'll probably take mine if Dion Lewis. I'm hoping to get some better news on his abdominal situation because I do think the game flow against the Jets will favor Lewis a little better. Um, I think running LeGarrette Blunt too much is going to be kind of beating your head against a brick wall. Whereas Dion Lewis, I think, could pose a little more problem for the Jets defense. Frank Gore has put up the most yards from, or I think top 5 yards from scrimmage in the last 4 weeks. Hasn't really gotten in the end zone that much, or as much as I'd want him to, but I'll still take Gore here over Murray, who I guess put up pretty good numbers last week or the last 2 weeks. But I think he's going to be facing a little better rush D against Carolina. Lamar Miller, not even though he had a big week last week, I'm really not sold on him against Houston and J.J. Watt. We'll just have to see if Lewis can't go. I suppose I'm putting in Joseph Randle, but I kind of want to see what happens with him and the Christine Michael situation before I do anything. It's close, but I'll take my running backs. Wide receiver, I've got Dante Moncrief and Willie Snead. Taylor's got Martavis Bryant and Alan Hearns. Hearns is questionable, limited today, but he probably should play. Scored a touchdown in the last 4 games, although he only had 2 receptions last game. His receptions have gone down the last 3 weeks. Martavis Bryant exploded last week for 137 and 2. Sorry. But I think he'll regress to the mean, hopefully. Although Kansas City is the league's worst defense against wide receivers. Moncrief, I like him because Luck. Every time Luck has started, he's tossed at least one touchdown to Moncrief. I don't think that stops this week. Whatever corner they're going to use on T.Y. Hilton is going to be their best, leaving Moncrief to kind of get separation, get whatever he wants. Similar with Willie Snead. I think that Indianapolis will use Vontae Davis on Brandon Cooks. Kind of leave Willie Snead to run around back there, hopefully. Um, this is tough. I think this is kind of a toss-up, honestly. Um, but there's a reason I'm playing who I'm playing. Uh, I don't know. If you held a gun to my head, I'd probably pick mine over Taylor's, but it's going to be close. Tight end, I'm chasing points. Richard, chasing points. You heard me. With Benjamin Watson, uh, got 10 catches on like 12 targets last week for 127 and 1. Scored a touchdown the last 2 weeks, so I'm definitely chasing points with him. Taylor's got Jordan Cameron going against Houston. Cameron really hasn't had a good year. Got 9 last week with a touchdown. So that's another toss-up, really. At flex, I've got Antonio Brown. Taylor's got Charles Clay. This is another close one, although I'll probably take Brown just because Clay isn't playing with Tyrod Taylor, and I'm not sure who they're starting. I guess E.J. Manuel. I don't know. I just got to think Brown's got to get something, especially now that Vic isn't starting, and the accuracy hopefully won't be that bad. And Kansas City is a garbage secondary. Defense, I've got the Steelers going against KC. Taylor's got the Cardinals going against Baltimore. Cardinals are pick happy. They've been really good this year, although they kind of shat the bed last week against Pittsburgh. I expected them to have a big week, and they only got 1. So we'll see. The Steelers have been trending in the right direction. Looks like their run D is back where they want it to be. They faced some pretty good offenses the last 3 weeks and put up positive points, over 5 every time. So hopefully they can keep that rolling, especially with Jamal Charles out. Overall, I'm going to pick myself in this matchup, but I think this is going to be another close one, and I think, I don't know, my team just sucks without Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, that's my starting quarterback and my number 1 draft pick that are useless. Second round draft pick, I traded him. Terrible. Still terrible. My tight end that I traded, my best tight end that I traded, had 2 other top 10 tight ends. Both of them got injured the next week. So it's just a comedy of errors for me. But I think I moved to 4-3 miraculously. And hopefully Big Ben comes back next week. Next matchup, we've got James Reineke, Team Andrew Luck on a 3-game win streak. Definitely one of the hotter teams. Definitely a team that I was wrong about in the beginning of the year. I thought he was going to be not as good as he is. Facing the best team in the league in Richard Crum, Tom Brady's softballs. This is the definition of a marquee QB matchup. Andrew Luck's going against New Orleans. Tom Brady for Richard going against the Jets. I'll probably take Luck just because of the opponent. Luck looked really good last week. Got 28 points last week. No interceptions, 3 touchdowns, over 300 yards passing. The Jets just have a good defense. So I'll take Luck here in a shootout, I believe. Running backs, Reineke's got Todd Gurley and Doug Martin. Richard's got Latavius Murray and Marshawn Lynch. This is another powerhouse matchup. Todd Gurley, I think, might even outstrip Le'Veon Bell from here on forward. He's just looked incredible. Doug Martin's been pretty sneaky play. 20 and 33 the last 2 weeks. Got a bye to rest up. He should have a big week against Washington. Don't think they'll have to abandon the run against them either. Richard's got Latavius Murray and Marshawn Lynch. Latavius Murray's going against the worst rush D in the league, so I expect him to have a field day. Lynch tonight against San Francisco. San Francisco's rush D is a shell of what it formerly was. But Lynch is not as healthy. So I'll probably take Reineke's running backs here as well. Wide receivers, Reineke's got DeAndre Hopkins and Eric Decker. Crump's got Calvin Johnson and T.Y. Hilton. I like DeAndre Hopkins better than both of Richards, but I like both of Richards better than Eric Decker. Um, if I'm Reineke, I mean, I guess the only other option would be Vincent Jackson, really, but I'm not sure if you sub him out. Let's see, Decker has put up touchdowns the last 2 games he's played in, but not seeing the volume because of Brandon Marshall. T.Y. Hilton finally looks healthy. Broke for a touchdown last week. Hopefully Luck's arm is a little more healthy and he's able to go deep. That seems to be what Hilton thrives on. Calvin Johnson had another big week last week as well. Got in the end zone for the second time this year. 166 yards. He's starting to look like the Calvin Johnson we all know and love. So I'll probably take Richards just for the consistency. Tight ends. Reineke's got Jimmy Graham. Richards got Rob Gronkowski. Used to be a marquee matchup, but Gronkowski hands down on this one. Graham, let's see, did get 140 yards last week, so maybe they're starting to incorporate him a little better, but still didn't get in the end zone. Flex, this is another good one. Reineke has Danny Woodhead, who has filled in admirably for the terrible Melvin Gordon. Crump's got Chris Ivory, who's put up 22 and 25. He's put up over 23 times out of 5 games he's played. I'll probably take Chris Ivory, even though he is going against New England. So yeah, I'll take Ivory there. Defense, Reineke needs to drop somebody, probably Marcus Wheaton or Sam Bradford or Jalen Strong, and pick up a defense. The Packers are on bye. Richards going for the Redskins, who've been pretty okay so far this year. So, yeah, I mean, currently, you got to like Richards better than nothing. Kickers don't care. This is going to be a really close matchup. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored. But this is going to be really close. I'll take Reineke's just because I like his matchups better. Maybe. Yeah, I'll pick Reineke. Although he is projected to lose by 10, fix that defense and that'll go up a little bit. All right, next matchup we have is Andrew Cordman, won 3 in a row, going against Nick Piola, 3-3. It seems we're getting our division mates out of the way real quick. I've played Corbin twice, and I'm about to play Taylor twice. And I think this is the second time. Nick and Corbin have played. So here goes. Quarterbacks: Phillip Rivers going against Oakland for Corbin. Drew Brees going against Indianapolis for Nick. I think both of them will have a good week, but I like Phillip Rivers more. Coming off a week where he tossed 500 yards and 2 touchdowns. They're playing a team that can't stop a tight end to save their life, and he just got Antonio Gates back, so I expect Rivers to have a big game. But I expect Brees to have a big game too. He's looked good the last few weeks. Over 300 yards passing in 4 out of 5 games that he's played in so far. So expect the touchdown numbers to go up as well. Running backs: Corbin's got Le'Veon Bell and Arian Foster. Foster questionable but should play. I think he's been questionable every game. Nick's got Adrian Peterson, who's questionable as well, should play. It's a finger issue, nothing lower body. And Mark Ingram. The problem with Drew Brees, he hadn't really gotten in the end zone because Mark Ingram's been there to vulture pretty much every receiving touchdown. And, I mean, he hasn't broken 80 yards yet this season. And he's gotten 4 touchdowns, so that's really helped him. So you've definitely got a good Brees handcuff there, Nick. Both of these are pretty powerhouse running back matchups. And if the points don't go to Mark Ingram, I expect them to go to Breeze. So not really much drop off there. It's tough, but I'll probably take Corbin's because I like Le'Veon Bell a lot. Wide receivers, Corbin's got Keenan Allen and Mike Wallace. Nick's got Jordan Matthews and Amari Cooper. Jordan Matthews has been pretty underwhelming, especially in the last 4 weeks. Hasn't broken 5. Cooper had an off game last week too, or against Denver, but kind of expect that. Going against another good secondary though, but I think Cooper's talent is too much to overcome, or too much for him not to get in the end zone again. Keenan Allen, it's kind of worrying. He was really playing well, but he missed practice this Thursday as well, so you want to keep an eye out on that. And good Lord, your whole team is on bye, Corbin. Your whole bench is either on bye or out, so you might want to. And I don't know who you drop. If Keenan Allen can't play, I don't know who you drop. I guess Ronnie Hillman. So that's going to be an interesting if Keenan Allen can't go, which seems to be a real possibility. But either way, I'll probably take Knicks just because I don't like Mike Wallace at all. Tight ends, Corbin picked up Eric Ebron, hoping that he could go. That's another one that's very questionable. He has been limited. He has been practicing, but he's been limited, has a knee injury, and plus the other 2 tight ends on their roster are healthy and playing. So I like Greg Olsen. Even though he is facing the second best tight end defense in the league, I still think Olsen gets the targets and gets the yardage. And he's healthy. So I'll take Olsen over Eric Ebron. Both of those people have been on my teams. Shouldn't have let Greg Olsen go. But I had no idea that both of my top 10 tight ends would be injured that week. At flex, Corbin's got Ryan Matthews. Nick's got Devontae Freeman, hands down. Gotta go with Devontae Freeman. He hasn't scored below 24 in 4 weeks and has broken 30 twice. So yeah, Devontae Freeman's unbelievable apparently. Defense, Corbin's got the Eagles going against Carolina, who's a good play. The Eagles have been playing very well on defense this year. Nick's got the Seahawks going against San Fran, which is also a good play. That's tonight. Thursday night games, you don't expect a lot of offense. And Seahawks will be facing a terrible, terrible, terrible 49ers team. So I expect this to be kind of a toss-up as well. But I'd probably choose the Seahawks just because you kind of know what you're getting. I'll pick Nick to win this matchup. Pick both of these teams to be 4-3 and make a real clusterfuck at the top of our division after this week. Next matchup we have is Alex Piola, who was leading the league after 3 weeks until the cracks started showing up in his team. Lost the last 3 weeks in a row. Brian is also 3-3 after winning last week. Brian, who in the world did you play last week? Hold on. I can't believe that happened. Brian. Unbelievable. Oh, you beat Taylor. Okay. Anyway, quarterback, we've got Cam Newton for Piola going against Russell Wilson tonight against San Fran. San Fran has been terrible against quarterbacks. I expect Russell Wilson to run some, and Philly's been pretty good against quarterbacks, so I'll pick Russell Wilson. Although I don't really like that pick. It is Thursday night, and Russell Wilson hasn't really been that good this year. At running back, Piola's got a questionable Carlos Hyde. You want to keep a lookout on that. He is good to go, but he does have a foot issue, which is never good. And Chris Johnson, Brian's got Jonathan Stewart and Shane Vereen. Brian, your team is so bad. You trade for Andre Ellington, saying he's so good, and then you have him sitting right on your bench, and you're starting Shane Vereen. I'll take Piola's running backs. Chris Johnson's number one at Arizona, going against a pretty bad Baltimore defense. Expect him to get some yardage. Shane Vereen, it's whether he gets in the end zone or not, man. Wide receivers, Piola's got Julio Jones and Jeremy Maclin, who's questionable, but he's got a concussion, didn't practice yesterday. Brian's got Kendall Wright and Travis Benjamin. Brian, start Mike Evans, please. He's better than Kendall Wright. Benjamin, I actually like him for the long haul. He seems to be getting a lot of targets, and a lot of receptions, and a lot of yards. So I like Piola's, though, better. I think Julio gets in the end zone again. If Macklin goes, expect him to have a big week as well. That's how you beat Pitt, is through the air. But if he can't go, I'm assuming you start Brandon Cooks, who has had one touchdown this year. So kind of a sticky situation. But I like Piola's better. Tight end, Piola's got Travis Kelce. Brian's got Ladarius Green, who I don't hate somehow. Ladarius Green is playing with Antonio Gates in the lineup now. But number one, Oakland is terrible against tight ends. And number two, the Chargers wide receiver core is kind of depleted, so I think Phillip Rivers will have to look for tight ends. Piola's got Travis Kelce, who actually got 88 yards last week, so I don't know. I'll probably take Kelce just because he's the number one, but I think Ladarius Green is actually a pretty good play. Flex, these are both similarly bad. Piola's got Amir Abdullah, who seems to alternate between 5 and negative points. And Matt Jones, who Brian just thought was going to just set the world on fire after one good week, going against Tampa Bay. Jones did practice in full, but he is playing with two other running backs in that backfield as well. Again, you got to start Andre Ellington. You traded for him. You got to start him. I also would change out Mike Evans for Kendall Wright. The upside is just a lot higher there. If I'm Piola, I'm thinking about Charkandrick West over Amir Abdullah, but that's kind of a judgment call. Defense, Piola's got the Rams going against Cleveland. Brian's got the Chiefs going against Pitt. I like the Rams play better. They're more talented, number one. And number two, Pitt looked a lot better with Landry Jones at quarterback last week. And I think they'll continue that this week. I think they'll shred the Chiefs pretty good through the air. They're terrible through the air. I'm going to pick Piola to get back on track, 4-3. Brian to fall to 3-4. All right, our last matchup of the week will be James Nash versus Brian Jaska. Both of them sitting at 2-4. Both of them on losing streaks. Two of Nash's good players are on bye. Quarterback, Nash has Matt Ryan. Jaska has Joe Flacco. I'll take Ryan over Flacco. Flacco's just got nobody to throw to. Running backs, Nash has Melvin Gordon and Isaiah Crowell. Gordon has had fumble issues and injury issues this year. So I don't know about Gordon. Jaska's got LaShawn McCoy and Duke Johnson. Duke Johnson's actually put up some pretty good showings, catching balls out of the backfield. LaShawn McCoy finally broke out last week, had a good week. So I'll take Jaska's running backs. Wide receiver, Nash has Odell Beckham and John Brown, who had a really big week last week. 196 yards, didn't get in the end zone and fumbled, but still, it's nothing to shake a stick at. Jaska has Julian Edelman and Brandon Marshall, so I'll take Jaska's. No. If Beckham goes, I like Nash's. If Beckham doesn't go, I like Jaska's. Tight ends, Nash has got Delaney Walker. He played pretty well with Mettenberger last year, putting up pretty steady points. But if Gates goes like I expect he will, I think he'll have a huge week against a terrible Oakland tight end defense, giving up 7 more points than the average NFL team to tight ends. At flex, Nash has Joik Bell. Interesting pick. He is healthy, and I think they do need an every down back because Theo Riddick and Amir Abdullah certainly are not that. Jaska's at Larry Fitz. I think Larry Fitz probably has a better week than Joik Bell because you know what you're going to get with him a little more this year. At defense, Nash has got the Panthers going against Philly. Jaska's got the Patriots going against the Jets. I like the Panthers. I think they're more talented, number one, and I think the Jets' offense is much improved. So I'll take the Panthers there. If I am Nash, I'm probably playing Carson Palmer against Baltimore this week. Baltimore is the worst against quarterbacks, and Carson Palmer has scored more points than Matt Ryan has, I believe. Yeah, I think he scored more. He scored more points than Matt Ryan. And Palmer hasn't put up a dud single-digit game like Ryan has either. So I'd probably switch out Carson Palmer for Matt Ryan. I would think about switching Michael Crabtree out for Joy or at flex, especially if Melvin Gordon can't go. Other than that, I'm sticking. Jaska, your quarterback situation is messed up. I mean, if Peyton comes back, are you starting Flacco still? Because, I don't know, Peyton's been terrible. Jaska is having to sit Matt Forte, Emmanuel Sanders. I personally, you got to get Barnage in there somehow. I guess keep an eye out on whether Antonio Gates plays. But Barnage has been too good to sit lately. You've got a lot of wide receivers on your team. But I'm thinking Jaska to win. Nash's 2 top draft picks, I suspect, or 2 of his top 3 draft picks are on bye. I think Jaska moves to 3 and 4, and Nash falls to 2 and 5. All right, roll Tide. I'll see y'all next week.